to be able to inspire them to get involved in all sorts of activities.
It's such a shame that good news, and especially good news about young people.
Prince Edward, the often overlooked royal, has just dropped a bombshell about his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II. In a rare and candid moment, he's revealed a warning he tried to give her, one she didn't heed. What was so urgent that Edward felt compelled to speak out now, years after her passing? This is the untold story of a son's plea and a queen's decision that changed the monarchy forever. Let's dive into this royal revelation. Prince Edward, the youngest son of Queen Tier, Elizabeth II, and Prince Philip, has spent much of his life in the shadows of his more prominent siblings. At 61, the Duke of Edinburgh is known for his quiet dedication to the monarchy, his work with the Duke of Edinburgh's award, and his low-key approach to royal life. But in July 2025, Edward broke his silence in a way that's left royal watchers stunned. According to sources close to the palace, Edward recently spoke at a private event where he hinted at a conversation he had with his mother before her death in September 2022. He reportedly said, "I tried to warn her, but she was resolute." What was this warning, and why is Edward speaking out now? To understand this, we need to set the stage. Queen Elizabeth II, who reigned for 70 years, was a master of discretion. Her mantra, "Never complain, never explain," defined her approach to leadership. But behind the scenes, the royal family was no stranger to turmoil. Elizabeth faced countless challenges. Edward, often seen as the least controversial of her children, was a steady presence, rarely making headlines. So when he speaks out, it's big news. The question is, what was so critical that Edward felt the need to warn his mother, and why didn't she listen? Let's explore the context. The comment came during a speech at a Duke of Edinburgh's award event in London on July 5, 2025. Edward, who took over the patronage of the award from his father, Prince Philip, was addressing a small group of recipients. According to an attendee who shared details on X, Edward spoke warmly about his mother's legacy, but then made a cryptic remark. "She was a remarkable woman, but even she couldn't see everything coming. I tried to warn her, but her duty always came first." The post, which went viral with over 10,000 reposts, sparked speculation about what Edward meant. Was he referring to a family matter, a political issue, or something else entirely? Edward's older brother has been a lightning rod for controversy, particularly due to his association with Jeffrey Epstein and the subsequent legal fallout. In 2019, Elizabeth made the controversial decision to allow Andrew to step back from public duties, rather than fully stripping him of his titles. This move drew criticism, as many felt it was too lenient. Could Edward have warned his mother that protecting Andrew would damage the monarchy's reputation? Posts on X suggest Edward was uneasy about Andrew's continued presence at royal events, where Andrew appeared despite public backlash. If true, Edward's warning might have been about the long-term consequences of shielding his brother. Another possibility involves Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The couple's departure from royal life in 2020, dubbed Megxit, was a seismic event for the monarchy. Elizabeth's response was measured. She allowed Harry and Meghan to retain their Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles while stepping away from royal duties. This decision frustrated some royals, including Prince William, who reportedly wanted stricter measures. Did Edward also try to warn Elizabeth that giving Harry and Meghan too much leeway would embolden their public criticisms? A 2023 biography by royal author Robert Hardman claimed Edward was deeply upset by Harry's memoir Spare, which aired family grievances. Perhaps Edward foresaw the PR nightmare and urged his mother to take a firmer stance. There's also speculation that Edward's warning was about the monarchy's modernization, or lack thereof. Elizabeth was a traditionalist, steadfast in preserving the institution's centuries-old customs. Edward, while loyal, has shown a more progressive streak, particularly through his work with young people via the Duke of Edinburgh's award. In a 2021 interview with ITV, he hinted at the need for the monarchy to evolve, saying, "We must adapt to survive." Could he have warned Elizabeth that clinging to outdated protocols, like the rigid hierarchy of titles or the monarchy's aloofness, risked alienating younger generations? Her refusal to overhaul the system might have prompted Edward's cryptic comment. Let's consider the timing. Why is Edward speaking out now, nearly 3 years after his mother's death? One factor could be the current state of the monarchy. King Charles III, now 76, is battling cancer, as confirmed by Buckingham Palace in February 2024. His health struggles have placed additional pressure on the working royals, including Edward and his wife Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. The couple has taken on more public engagements, stepping into the spotlight as Charles and Princess Catherine manage their health challenges. Edward's comment might reflect frustration with the burdens he's inherited, burdens he believes could have been eased if Elizabeth had heeded his advice. Another angle is the monarchy's public image. In 2025, the royal family is under intense scrutiny. Social media platforms like X are flooded with debates about the monarchy's relevance, with hashtags like "Abolish the Monarchy" trending alongside "Not Royal Family." A post from July 7, 2025, by user rRoyaltyUK claimed Edward's remark was a subtle jab at Charles's leadership, suggesting Edward believes his brother's reign is faltering. While this is speculative, it's worth noting that Edward has never publicly criticized Charles. Still, the timing of his comment, amid Charles' health crisis and William's preparations for the throne, raises questions about his motives. Let's dig into Edward's relationship with his mother. As her youngest child, born in 1964, Edward was often seen as Elizabeth's favorite, a claim bolstered by royal biographer Ingrid Seward in her 2020 book Prince Edward: A Life. Seward noted that Elizabeth doted on Edward, who was less rebellious than his siblings. Unlike Charles, who clashed with his parents over his personal life, or Andrew, whose scandals caused headaches, Edward was a reliable son. His warning, then, would have carried weight. But Elizabeth's commitment to duty often trumped personal advice, even from her children. If Edward warned her about a family or institutional issue, her refusal to act might have stemmed from her belief in preserving the monarchy's stability. What could Edward's warning have been about specifically? Let's explore a few scenarios. First, there's the issue of succession planning. Elizabeth was famously reluctant to delegate power, even as her health declined in her final years. In 2021, reports surfaced that she rejected suggestions to scale back her duties, insisting on carrying out engagements like the COP26 summit despite mobility issues. Edward, aware of her age, she was 96 at her death, might have urged her to prepare Charles and William more thoroughly for their roles. Her refusal could have left the monarchy unprepared for the challenges of 2025, like Charles's illness and the slimmed-down roster of working royals. Another possibility is the handling of royal finances. The monarchy's funding, primarily through the sovereign grant, has long been a point of contention. In 2022, the grant was reported at $86.3 million, a figure that sparked public criticism amid the UK's cost of living crisis. Edward, who has championed youth programs, might have warned Elizabeth that the monarchy's lavish image was out of touch. A leaner, more transparent financial model could have strengthened public support, but Elizabeth's traditional approach prevailed. Today, with anti-monarchy sentiment growing, Edward's warning seems prescient. Then, there's the issue of titles and roles. Elizabeth's decisions on titles, like allowing Andrew to retain his Duke of York title or Harry and Meghan to keep their Sussex titles, have shaped the monarchy's current landscape. Edward, as a working royal with the Duke of Edinburgh title, might have cautioned his mother that these choices would complicate William's future reign. William has reportedly vowed to strip Harry's titles when he becomes king, a move that could spark backlash. Did Edward foresee this tension and try to warn Elizabeth to act preemptively? Let's address the elephant in the room. Is this story even true? The claim about Edward's warning stems from an unverified source, an attendee at a private event. No major outlet like the BBC or The Guardian has confirmed the quote, and Buckingham Palace has not commented. A Snopes investigation into similar royal rumors, like the alleged fight between Camilla's granddaughter and Prince Louis, found no credible evidence. The lack of corroboration suggests Edward's remark might have been misconstrued or exaggerated. For example, he could have been speaking generally about his mother's stubbornness, not a specific warning. Still, the story's traction online shows the public's hunger for royal gossip. Let's examine Edward's character. Unlike his brothers, he's avoided major scandals. His early career in theater production raised eyebrows. Charles reportedly called it unsuitable for a royal, but Edward carved out a respectable role. His marriage to Sophie Rhys-Jones in 1999 has been stable, and their children, Lady Louise Windsor and James, Viscount Severn, are low profile. Edward's dedication to the Duke of Edinburgh's award, which has engaged over 6 million young people globally, shows his commitment to service. This makes his decision to speak out, even cryptically, all the more significant. He's not one to stir drama lightly. What about Queen Elizabeth's perspective? At the time of her death, she was navigating a delicate balance. Her final years were marked by personal losses. Prince Philip died in April 2021, and public challenges, like Harry's Oprah interview and Andrew's settlement with Virginia Giuffre. Elizabeth's focus was on her Platinum Jubilee in 2022, a celebration of her 70-year reign. If Edward warned her about a looming issue, her priority might have been maintaining stability for the Jubilee, not addressing long-term concerns. Her decision to prioritize duty over reform could explain why she didn't act on his advice. Let's consider the monarchy's current state. Charles's cancer diagnosis has shifted the spotlight to William, who is preparing for his future role. Edward and Sophie have stepped up, taking on engagements like the recent state visit by French President Emmanuel Macron on July 8, 2025. But the monarchy is stretched thin, with only a handful of working royals. Edward's comment might reflect frustration that his mother's choices, whether about Andrew, Harry, or institutional reform, have left the family vulnerable. If he warned her about these risks, her inaction could be a source of regret for him now. Social media has amplified this story, but it's not without precedent. In 2023, a similar rumor about Prince William stripping a title from Camilla's granddaughter went viral, only to be debunked. The current story about Edward follows. A familiar pattern, a vague quote, an anonymous source, and rampant speculation. A post on X from July 6, 2025, by user @monarchyinsider claimed Edward's warning was about Charles's weakness as king, but offered no proof. Without official confirmation, we must approach this with skepticism, but the story's resonance suggests it taps into real tensions. What does this mean for the monarchy's future? Edward's remark, whether true or not, highlights the challenges facing King Charles and Prince William. The royal family is under pressure to modernize, cut costs, and rebuild public trust. William's vision for a slimmed-down monarchy? Fewer. Working royals, fewer titles, could address some of these issues, but it risks alienating traditionalists. Edward, as a senior royal, might be signaling that the monarchy must evolve or face irrelevance. His warning to Elizabeth, if it happened, could be a plea for change that went unheeded. As we piece this together, one thing is clear. The royal family is at a turning point. Edward's rare candor pulls back the curtain on a monarchy grappling with its past and future. Was his warning about Andrew's scandals, Harry's exit, or the monarchy's outdated structure? Or was it something we haven't even considered? The truth might be locked away in Buckingham Palace, but the questions keep piling up. What else is Edward holding back? And will he ever reveal the full story?